Eternal God, our Father, Lord God, we come again and saying thank you, Lord. Thank you for this day that you have made. Lord, continue to cover and keep each and every one of us. Continue to cover and keep this city, Lord. Keep every resident safe. Keep every student safe. Keep every teacher, every fire, and every police safe. Lord, we thank you for what you're going to do in all these people, Lord, and all you're going to do for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call.
Alexander. Spitali.
Here.
Vanez.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Salinas.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakos.
Here. We got 9 present in chambers. Mayor.
Hi, nice to see you, Councilman. Good to see the City Council. I know that Megan, with the recent upgrade to our computer system, we were finally allowed access to our data, and I know she updated the fourth quarter 2023 gaming and revenue report, and I believe the first quarter of this, no, excuse me, we're still in the first quarter. But so you have that information available. As you'll notice, we've been doing reports on gaming revenue in the city of Hammond. Gaming revenue is down 28% from our high point to where we are currently. That's about $10 million a year lost the city suffered because of our competition. Hard Rock Casino, plus the competition current. And as everybody knows, Homewood's about to open a very large casino with an extremely large hotel. I imagine they're going to compete very well with Hard Rock. Downtown Chicago's opening a casino. They're in a temporary location. They had a really big month, and they're expecting to get bigger and bigger. So I think the glory days of the casino are behind us, being honest. So we're preparing as though that's the case. But right now, currently, we're $10 million down in our gaming revenue. The good news is water revenue is doing really well, and that grows, but it grows slowly. The losses we're experiencing in gaming is happening faster than the growth in the water. The water is doing well, though, but not as fast as the gaming is dropping. So that's concerning. Start off with that. You guys can see that with your own eyes, and that affects everything we do. So mayor's activity log. Read a lot to classes lately. Read to Miss Wheeler's kindergarten class at Morton Elementary School. Prepared and presented a resolution to Tri Kappa of Northwest Indiana, celebrating Tri Kappa Month. Read to a second grade class at Kenwood Elementary School. Met with Councilman Rakos and a resident from St. John who's interested in helping us maintain the Little Red Schoolhouse. We had a meeting with that gentleman. Met with Lisa Miller, school trustee from School City Hammond, received an update about what's going on in the school city, which is bleak, being honest. I had my normal monthly meeting with the captains and the chiefs at the Hammond Police Department. Met with Crown Point Mayor regarding Hammond Water. Interesting meeting with the Crown Point Mayor. Met with employees and the contractors looking at the overall development plan for the area surrounding the Hammond Sportsplex. I'm going to loop in Councilman Berry into that and probably 1 or 2 at-large council people, as well as probably Councilman Warple into what's going on there. But we're taking an overall look at that entire area with the traffic issues that we've experienced with the larger tournaments we're running, along with the economic development challenges that we have, meaning the Y needs to expand and we need more options for economic development there. With these challenges, we're looking at a comprehensive look at the entire area. So I will be reaching out to the council people about that. I can only meet with 4 of you at a time, as you all know. So all the county clerks in the state of Indiana, all 92 of them, came to Hammond, Indiana last week, and I spoke to all the county clerks. I want to thank our Lake County Clerk, Mike Brown, for bringing this conference to Hammond. They stayed in the hotels on the south side of the city. They were based right around the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they were, I met with them at Byway Brewing. So it was good to see all 92 of the county clerks in Hammond, Indiana. Had lunch with former town manager of Munster, Dustin Anderson, La Hacienda Azteca regarding Hammond Water and the Hammond Sanitary District. Read to Mrs. Heinz, second grade class at St. Casimir School. Meeting with staff analyzing garbage and recycling rates charged by municipalities across Indiana, as well as the city of Hammond. I want to remind the council that our garbage and our recycling contracts are coming due very shortly. And I've been seeing what's going on with other cities and towns across Northwest Indiana, and all these rates are going up fairly significantly. And currently we're running in the red. We have information available. I don't think we've made it public to you all yet, but we will get it to you by the next meeting that shows what's going on with our business unit. Garbage and recycling, If we're not charging enough on garbage and recycling and the monthly rates, what happens is the overages get paid anyway, and they get paid basically through gaming revenue. So if we don't do our job keeping up with rates, ultimately it costs us at the end of the day anyway. So we're going to approach you with some ideas we have about getting right with our garbage rates, and our contracts will be due very soon, and we're going to know exactly what kind of increase we're looking at. Met with the executive staff and the chancellor of Purdue Northwest, talking about 3 big projects Purdue is working on in city. The Impact Lab in downtown Hammond in the 2nd District. Purdue Northwest is going to open their presence in the 2nd District. I don't think they're there yet, and it's a really massive project they're talking about in the 2nd District, right at the old St. Margaret Mercy. Dowling Park and the Gene Shepherd Center. Purdue has always been talking about that. We've been talking for 6 years or so about Purdue's interest in that area over there. We were just more formalizing their interest in the area. Nothing really more than that. Obviously, I'll keep council people involved in that. Gavitt High School, Purdue's interest in Gavitt High School has never waned either, and they're still interested in that property. And with the new chancellor on board now, hopefully we can start moving on those 3 issues. So, and everywhere Purdue invests, it's usually a good thing for the city because Purdue has money, and they have a police force, and they take care of their investment. So I think if they are investing in the 2nd District, I think it's a real positive for the 2nd District and for downtown Hammond. So good news, the food and beverage proposal that we floated to the Indiana General Assembly passed yesterday. They passed a bill which now enables the city of Hammond to enact a food and beverage tax of up to 1% with a sunset period of 20 years. The bill is now waiting for the governor's signature. If the governor signs it, it's up to us at that point. If the governor vetoes it, it'll go back for a veto session. But we're at a point we've never been before. I didn't anticipate us being at this point, and here we are. So if we all approve this food and beverage tax, it'll tack on 1% to all food and beverage purchases at restaurants, like drive-throughs, things like that, not for groceries, okay? Only 3 projects we could use that money for, and they are as follows. The construction of a downtown Hammond train station, anything around that area. We could also talk about property acquisitions and stuff like that to help develop the downtown Hammond train station. So that's good news. The expansion of the Hammond Sportsplex and acquisition that goes into that, and also the expansion of the pavilion. Those 3 projects are tourism related, signed off by the General Assembly, and those are the only 3 projects that those monies could be used on if we approve it. I want to give thank you to a lot of people who worked hard for the city of Hammond, Republicans and Democrats alike, but start off with our locals. Representative Carolyn Jackson was a superstar for us, as she always is. Representative Mike Andrade always does a great job. He's not even our rep anymore, and he still acts like he's our rep, which is wonderful. He technically represents Griffith, but he's always out there for Hammond. He grew up here, so we had Republicans galore helping this bill. It was amazing. Representative Ed Soliday from Valpo, Senator Niemeyer from Cedar Lake, Senator Dan Darnell from Highland, and our lobbyists, Joe Smith from Fagery Drinker and Andy Miller from Bose, did a great job. And this is a bill that could generate $30 million conservatively for us. So towards those 3 projects, that's a big deal. So obviously, before we get serious about this, we're going to have all of our ducks in a row, and I'm going to approach the council with ideas and thoughts and prices and all that stuff. So I know that something that I didn't think would cause much controversy caused controversy in executive session today about a resolution that's been sent to us by the Department of Transportation. This is no sneaky plan by the administration to get you to approve something. This is sent to us by the DOT, Pete Buttigieg. And we get millions of dollars every year from the DOT, and this is a goal that they set. And if we don't go along with that goal, it would be serious ramifications. Let's just say that. Millions of dollars we're talking about. So this isn't exactly a negotiation. And if you guys choose not to pass this, you choose not to pass this, but we're not really negotiating. I didn't write this. This is given to us saying, pass it, Hammond. If you guys want to fight with Washington, D.C., I don't think that's wise, personally. But basically, the resolution setting goals for reducing serious injuries and fatalities on our streets as a requirement to obtain future funding. So if we say no, we could live on our own over here, or we could continue to try to get future funding. And it's very competitive, by the way. Like, we compete with other municipalities to get this funding. And if we give the finger to the DOT saying we don't care about this, they'll give us the finger back, I promise. And we'll suffer the consequences locally. Like, this isn't a game. So if you guys want to play games with Washington, D.C., there will be consequences. That's all I got to say. If you have questions, I'm willing to answer them, but I don't think we should mess around with DOT, personally. I don't think it's worth it. So,
Mr. President,
Yes. Councilwoman.
the question that was asked, Mayor, is there a copy of the vision policy? And
I imagine there is, Councilwoman.
But what made it hard for me going through when I got into executive session is not having that. It made it hard because just the wording, you're saying that it's for, like, to apply for different things. The wording doesn't say that, so
Well,
that's what's making it harder, that we're hearing one thing, but we're reading one thing. So if there is a policy, I would love to have a copy of that to help me out with this, if there is one. I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
So that's why it says there's a Vision Zero policy. So whatever that policy is, having that to back this up makes it understandable, is the wording that I'm going to look for. To say that there's a grant, it doesn't say we can apply for a grant or things like that. And that was the wording that was used in the executive session, and it wasn't listed here. So a bunch of questions just came up.
Okay.
Okay?
No
Mr.
problem.
President,
I haven't seen anything, Councilwoman. I didn't draw this. I just want to pass it so we can get money. That's where I'm coming from.
But saying to get money, it goes back to, it's not here, so it makes it a little bit, like, where's the wording for that to say that this is what this resolution does?
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
being the sponsor of this, I actually went into the engineering department and talked to Dean. And like anything else that's federal, there is a policy of Vision Zero. It's a book about that thick.
Right.
And basically what I was told is this allows us to apply for Department of Transportation grants. It can be anything. It's my understanding it can be anything that we've done since 2022 that we might be able to recover some funds for, from what I was told, or it could be future projects.
Right.
But to say, like, okay, what is this specifically? Well, it's like community crossings. And that is, there's a policy that, for instance, I call it Oxbow Road. When it was redone, we tried it once with gaming money and we didn't have the funding. So Dean says, hey, let me try community crossings. And I don't know what he filled out, but it qualified. And we got the grant for that. And it saved the city in the 5th District a lot of money. So, yeah, I mean, there's a Vision Zero policy, and it's my understanding it's a book about that thick.
Right.
And it's got a bunch of what you can do and you can't do's in it.
You guys could approach this any way you want. You want to do it 2 weeks from now? I don't think there's a deadline, Councilwoman. So I didn't give this 2 seconds of thought, being honest. It's just, the engineer says, Mayor, we need to pass this or else we won't get future funding. And I said, where is it? Yeah, all right. Like, it's DOT. I'm not really negotiating with them over this. So if you guys want to hold off and debate it, knock yourself out. But we just need it passed. That's where I'm coming from.
I don't think it's a debate. I think it's just the questions. It's asking the questions to get more clarity. So it's not so much that,
Sure.
okay, we don't think things should happen. Or it's just, those are the questions, and they said in the meeting, since you weren't in our executive session, to ask you then, to go ahead and ask you now.
Well, no, I don't know anything about this. I just know we won't get money if we don't pass it. I don't really care that much about this, being honest with you. It doesn't faze me at all. I just want to sign it and move on with my life.
Just one
Like,
last
What-
comment.
This is something, honestly, if I spent more than 2 minutes on, I'd be committing mayor malpractice. This is something that's automatic. They're not negotiating with us. So, like, you guys want to spend hours on this, knock yourself out. I'm not going to. Just tell me when you're done debating, and I'll sign it so we can
Just-
get our money, okay?
There's
Like,
one
I think
last-
this is silly.
Just to make the point that was kind of made to me, if I understood him correctly, we possibly could apply for this grant for money that we've done work on Kennedy Avenue because it took it down from 4 lanes to 1 lane, and it made the street safer. Or where we restriped 173rd. And that doesn't mean that that's what we're going to do, but I mean, if we're applying for grants for projects we done anywhere from 2022 to 2026. So, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Hey, you want some free money?
But
Pass this Vision Zero.
If there's concern in the council, knock yourself out, debate it. Just let me know when you're done, okay? I just need to sign it so we can send it to Buda Judge so that we can keep getting money.
Councilman Kowinski.
Thank you. I think the devil's just in the details. It sounds like a wonderful program. From what I read on Google, it's $5 to $6 billion to spend across the country from 22 to 26. And just last year in Indiana, a total of 10 million plus was spent on various projects. So it also said, from what I read, that projects range from, when you finally get to the action plan, 2.5 million to like 25 million for projects in your town. It's a big deal, you're right.
Thank you.
We just didn't have any information.
No problem, Councilman.
No information.
I'm sorry.
except this.
I mean, honestly, maybe I make it too easy on Dean, because something like this, I'm just like, no problem, Dean. Mayor, we need this signed. I'm like, okay. I trust the engineer, but if you guys need more details, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think this is a deadline. Megan, do you know if this is? Right, so delay it another meeting. I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes I come to you and it's burning and we need it done. This isn't. I don't think this is burning.
And
So
where it says be it resolved, the second item says that any prior action taken by the mayor or any staff necessary in connection with the items approved herein is hereby ratified and adopted as actions on behalf of the city. So if that's the case, we should know what those things were
Mr.
or
President,
done,
Oh,
if
I don't
there
care,
are
Mark.
anything.
that's
There is
exactly
nothing.
that's exactly what the engineer was referring to me. Prior action, Kennedy Avenue, 173rd,
Okay.
Hammond Avenue. So if we're not going to get any of that money back unless we pass this first,
I don't
what
know.
is this? What we got to pass in order to possibly get some money back or funding for future
I'm
projects?
sure Dean would be here to talk about this. He lost his mother this week,
Yeah.
guys. So I'm sure he'd be here to talk about this in person, and it'd probably be a lot easier if Dean was here, because I have no freaking clue. All right, my engineer says, Mayor, we jeopardize millions of dollars in funding if we don't pass this. I'm like, send it to the council. That's where I'm coming from. So like, if you guys have questions, I don't care. I mean, let's knock it out. But Dean would be here because he has something on the agenda and they're supposed to be, but he lost his mom this week, so he's not here,
It would
and I'm
make
flying
sense.
blind.
It would make sense to wait 2 weeks and
Sure,
just ask him.
no problem.
What's he
No problem.
referring to?
No problem. It's not
I
burning.
think we all want this, we just.
I agree,
don't
Councilman.
have
This
enough
isn't burning.
information.
Like, sometimes I'm in here and I'm being a jerk because we got to get it going. This is not one of those things, okay? It needs to be passed, though. That's all I'm saying, okay? So if you guys have questions, then hold it off. I don't care. Okay?
Okay,
that
any other
cool?
questions?
I'm not trying, believe me, I just don't want DC pissed off at us. So that's where I'm coming from.
We want the money.
I know you do,
It's a
and so do I.
20% local match, but
Yes, sir.
if we can get it.
Yeah, and if you have questions, we'll knock it out. Dean will be at the next meeting, okay? Councilman, is that fine? All right.
So we can wait 2 weeks?
I'm going to go ahead and bring it out tonight anyway.
Okay.
Okay, you can bring it out. It's up to them. All right, any other?
I'm not trying to get in trouble with the council.
Okay.
I'm not getting in the middle. I'm just saying this isn't burning, so God bless you all. Thank you, guys. Nice to
All
see
right,
you. Have a nice
thank
day.
you, Mayor.
Sorry. if I
Next
messed
up,
anybody
approval of minutes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the February 26, 2024 meeting and place them on file. Second.
Been a motion and a second by Councilman Emerson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes is approved. Next up, approval of claims.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman.
yes, I move for approval of claims dated February 28th of 2024 and ending with claims dated March 11th, 2024, claim number 1952 through claim number 2471 inclusive, in the amount of $34,637,192.87. I so move.
I have a motion and a second by Councilman Spitali. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Alexander.
Yes.
Spitali. Vines.
Yes.
Kowinski.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes. Claims passes 9-0. Next up, public hearings.
Item A, ordinance 24-05, an appropriation to appropriate funds in the hotel motel innkeepers tax fund for the Hammond Park Department. Item B, ordinance 24-06, sponsored by Councilwoman Vanez, an ordinance to appropriate funds from the operating balance for the Hammond Park Department.
Okay, we have two ordinances, 2405 and 2406, up for public expression. Would anybody like to speak on these two ordinances?
George Stoyer, Robert Still. I wish I knew what we're debating here. We're talking about $500,000. Appropriate funds from an operating balance. What fund is that? Is it being appropriated from? It's just one abstract here. None of the bills are ever online. We don't know what the hell's going on in this city. We just come here and what? It's just all this what's secret squirrel, Kafka-esque. Nobody knows what's going on. How can anybody intelligently come up here and even ask a question, let alone comment? I just don't understand. $500,000, and nobody says anything about it. Nothing.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. President,
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is money we get from the Convention and Visitors Bureau for tourism, and that's why it goes to the park. Is that true?
No, that's one of the ordinances that are coming out tonight. This ordinance is specifically the Park Activities Fund. So these are all revenues that were brought in for those various line items last year. So those are those remaining balances and being appropriated into this year.
So this is like concession stand fees?
Concessions, so like all the baseball fields, a few of the like Cinco de Mayo, 219 things like that. I think a lot of the line items are pretty
And this-
self-explanatory.
Both of these reappropriate that money back to parks, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so it's just we're trying to take whatever we didn't use last year and spend it this year. And this is just the formal way to get that done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Public hearings are closed. Communications. Anybody got any communications? This Saturday, 2 o'clock, HC 370 St. Patrick's Day Parade starts at 2 o'clock from Hessville Park down Kennedy Avenue, goes to 161st. Looks like good weather, about 55 degrees. Hope everybody can make it. Anybody else have any communications?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I wanted to make an announcement. On Saturday, March 30th, I will be hosting my second annual Easter egg hunt, and that will be taking place at Columbia Park. The event will start at noon, 12 o'clock, sharp, and it's targeted for all children ages 12 and under. There'll be free photos with the Easter Bunny, and there'll be golden eggs distributed for Easter baskets as well. We have several sponsors of the event: La Hacienda Azteca, McCoy and Sons Towing, Walmart Supercenter, and El Taco Real. Again, that event is on March 30th at noon sharp. We will be starting Columbia Park Easter egg hunt.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications closed. Committee reports.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman Emerson.
the Capital Improvement Board met on March 4th, 2024. Number one, we did $190,437.87 for change in the grade slope between Douglas and Fayette Street, as well as a pedestrian tunnel under the new Westlake line at Russell Street, and that was in the 2nd District. Number two, we voted on $60,000 to Nye Engineering for solutions to drainage problems throughout the city, including French drains and solutions to standing water, among other assignments, and that was citywide, and the first one was in the 2nd district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, I'd like to announce the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings. Wednesday, April 10th, Edison Community Watch will meet 6:30 p.m. at Edison School. That has been delayed by 1 week. Generally, it's the first Wednesday of the month, but in this case, it'll be the second Wednesday of the month. Harrison Park Crime Watch will meet Tuesday, April 2nd, at the VFW on Homan Avenue at 6 p.m. Hessville Crime Watch will meet Thursday, March 21st, 6 p.m. at the Gene Shepherd Center. Irving Community Watch will meet Friday, April 12th, 9:30 a.m. at Irving School. This is another one that has been delayed by a week rather than the first Friday of the month will be the second Friday, which is April 12th. South Homan Avenue Neighborhood Watch will meet Thursday, April 11th, 7 p.m. at Trinity Lutheran Church on Homan Avenue and 173rd. Whiting Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet Thursday, March 14th, 6:30 p.m. at Calumet College. Once again, I encourage everyone to attend a community or crime watch meeting to find out what's going on in your neighborhood and meet some of your neighbors, because community is not just about me, it's about us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Vines. Any other committee reports? Like maybe council as a whole?
No, we didn't have a committee meeting, but I can tell you that 2405 and 2406 will be coming out tonight.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other committee reports? Committee reports is closed. Next up, ordinance, third and final reading.
Ordinance number 24-05, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines, an appropriation to appropriate funds in the Hotel Motel Innkeepers Tax Fund for the Hammond Park Department.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilwoman Vines.
I move for final passage of 2405.
Second.
Been a motion, a second by Councilman, which Tyler? We'll go with Tyler. Been a motion, a second. Any discussion on 2405?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, this is funding $16,128.81 that will be appropriated from the innkeeper's tax to the Hotel Motel Fund, which is used for advertising for events, parades, 219 Day Festival of the Lakes, etc.
Any discussion? Any other discussion, I mean? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Alexander.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes. 2405 passes 9-0.
Ordinance number 2406, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines, an ordinance to appropriate funds from the operating balance for the Hammond Park Department.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, I move for final passage of 2406.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
as was explained by Megan earlier, this is $446,000 from the operating balance that will be appropriated to event services. Again, parades, 219 Day. Key and cleanup refunds. That is for those who choose to rent our parks and they have to make a down payment and then be refunded. Field rentals at Optimist, Irving, Soccer, concessions at Dowling and Riverside. Overtime special events of $20,000 if we do need overtime for the events that we're funding. Part-time concessions, $15,000. FICA medical employees share is all in there as well. That totals $19,000.
Thank you. Any other discussion on 2406? Any other discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Alexander,
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple. Rakos.
Yes. 2406 passes 9-0.
President Rakos, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Thank you, Councilman Golick. Next up, introduction ordinances. We have none. Resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 24R-05, sponsored by Councilman Warple. A resolution of the Hammond Common Council adopting a Vision Zero policy.
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
I move for passage of 25R05.
Second.
24R05.
Thank you, Councilman. Second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion on 24R05?
Mr. President,
Councilman.
I was hoping we'd wait a couple weeks so we can get some answers to a couple questions on the second page of the resolution. When the engineer might be returning from funeral leave, however, it doesn't look like that'll happen. So I don't know that I can vote for it without having my questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes.
along with Councilman Kalwinski, I guess my only question is, it does talk about a specific policy, and like many others have said, there's national guidelines that they encourage different cities and municipalities to adopt as part of their Vision Zero policy. But each city or municipality is responsible for coming up with their own policy, and if that is not included in his resolution, then I'm not sure how I can support it just without seeing it. And it's just something, I know we can ratify it later, which is one way to go, but we'll just prefer to have it in front of me and review it before we move forward with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
there is something on the Go Hammond Facebook page that encourages, well, it explains what this is. And it encourages those who read it to follow the link to answer questions. I have done that. I pointed out, they asked about problem intersections. What else did they ask about? Problem intersections, bike lanes, things of that nature. I personally feel comfortable after reading through what was online and taking the survey. I feel comfortable in voting for this.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman?
the question goes to Councilwoman Vines. Where on the website do you see such thing?
Go Hammond?
I understand, but I'm asking where so that I can go and look for it really quick?
I'm sorry, I can't understand what
I'm
you're
asking
saying.
exactly where on the website. You said you went to the website, so I'm asking where so that I can go and find it really quick.
There was a link.
I shared the link as well. I saw the link, I shared it, some friends and neighbors.
On your page?
It's on there.
I'll go to your page.
It is on there. Sure.
Yeah, Mr. President,
Yes.
I believe what Councilwoman Vanez is referring to was a survey asking for residential input in terms of the problem intersections. So I think the engineers department was trying to collect information on what to prioritize in our Vision Zero action plan, which I'm guessing they're still in the midst of crafting that Vision Zero action plan, which is, I think the point that we're trying to make today is that we would just like to see that action plan before we move forward with it. But it was a survey asking for input. There was a short 15-question survey that was shared via the Go Hammond Facebook page. And I think at one point it was on the website, but I don't think it's on the website anymore. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vanez.
so, Councilman Warple, am I correct in understanding I did not have a conversation with our engineer, given the circumstances in his life? Am I correct in understanding that in order for us to apply for the Federal Department of Transportation dollars that are available to us, that we do need to pass this resolution? Am I correct in understanding that?
May I approach?
Yes.
Yeah, you're correct. And it's no, I mean, we use community crossings all the time. Can anybody tell me what community crossings is all about?
Mr. President. Answer.
Go ahead.
We're not talking community crossings right now. We're talking about this plan. And some of us still have questions. So if you want to bring it out, some of us who don't have our answers to our questions will vote what we vote, and you vote what you vote. But, it seemed like we could wait 2 weeks and get our answers, but apparently we're
Mr. President, call for
not
the
wanting
vote.
to do that.
Okay. Call for the vote. 24R05. Councilman Gold, can you do the roll call for me, please?
Alexander,
No.
Spitali. Yes. Vanez,
Yes.
Kalwinski,
No.
Salinas,
Yes.
Tyler,
No.
Emerson,
Yes.
Warple,
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes. 24R05 passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-3.
President Rakos, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you. Wow. First up, Ken Rosick, under public expression. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Ken. Excuse me. New and unfinished business. I'm sorry.
You already had 1 second.
Any new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business? All right, new and unfinished business is closed. Come on up, Ken.
Greetings, Council. I don't know what that last ordinance or bill or whatever it was just got passed. I heard the mayor talk about he doesn't want to get into a discussion with the Department of Transportation or into an argument with the Department of Transportation. I don't know if you recall the last conversation I had with you, but, we have been writing Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Department of Transportation. And in response to our letter, we got a reply and we got a telephone call from the Federal Railway Administration, and they are upset. So he has already started and already involved in an argument with the Department of Transportation, already. I can let TJ tell you the name of the person. We all already given you the name of the person that we spoke to. I don't recall what it is off the top of my head. And an email is coming, by the way. But anyway, what happened was you guys designed a bridge and said it was going to do a number of different things, and it doesn't. It does not solve our problems, right? So what happens? ProPublica comes along, a national news agency, and they do interviews, and they film the kids crossing the tracks and hopping over the trains and things of that sort. Then another issue came up, and ProPublica went to Pete Buttigieg personally and had an interview with him. And they put him on the spot. Why hasn't this issue been solved? And the idea here was that it was solved, but now we know it isn't. The bridge was located too far away. The mayor knew that long ago. That's what the FRA told us. And they're upset that he did not go along with their recommendations of putting the bridge on Grand Avenue, where all the public schools are. They are upset because now they are put on the spot for not coming up with a solution. And Pete Buttigieg has egg on his face because you guys would not come up with the correct solution. So I have to ask the questions. What did you know and when did you know it? You know, that's a familiar old question, isn't it? Does it ring a bell? Did you know, before you voted on this, that the FRA recommended Grand Avenue to be the solution? Did you know that before you voted on it? That would have been good information to have, wouldn't it? Why didn't the administration tell you? This is going to go on and on and on. And if you wonder why there's something going on right now with the DOT,
Thank you, Ken.
there you go.
Next up, George Stoya.
Yeah, it's me again, Robert Stale.
Hey, George.
With respect to some of the highway stuff, just as an anecdote, Code of Federal Regulations is usually the best place to look for that kind of stuff. They'll give you the regs, they'll give you the whole breakdown of the program, and then they'll give you the statutory authority and all that stuff that goes with it and all the rationale, et cetera. But that's not what I'm up here for. I want to reemphasize that while I fully understand and everybody understands that this council is not the cause of the problems that we have with our schools, you guys are going to be saddled with and should be saddled with being part of the solution, because it's not just a hemorrhaging of students and people that don't want to move to Hammond. People want to move out of Hammond. You're going to have teachers. You got maxed out classes already. It's going to get even worse. And suddenly you're going to start losing good teachers. And then you're going to be in a world of you know what. And you don't want to be in that world. And we've worked so hard for at least 2 decades. Well, possibly more, going back to McDermott Sr. through Deedlow, and here we are with the current mayor. So we're talking 30 years. 30 years, think about this, that we've been fighting to stay afloat. You just can't let it get pissed away because you don't want to help out the school and it's their problem. You got to help them out. I don't know if it's money, I don't know if it's whatever, but something they need assistance, and it's crucial to us. Is it a game changer? Yeah. Will it break the city of Hammond? Probably not. But if you want to maintain, you've already heard the mayor say, we're running low on gaming funds, this and that, water. If you don't have people here buying water, you know, not even Illinois is going to support all that. So I'm just sounding the alarm like some, you know, because I'm concerned. I think it's just going over. Everyone wants to put their head in the sand on it. And anyway.
Thank you, George. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's a motion and a second to adjourn. All in